Moving on today, inshallah, we will be doing more grammar because the book has addressed certain things that we have not studied in grammar, and I would have liked to do it in grammar before doing it in the book, but I'm forced to at least give an introduction to those topics. So I will do that, inshallah. So the first thing I want to talk about is af'al, verbs. Generally speaking, a fi'l is one of the types of words in Arabic. What is a fi'l? A fi'l is a word that gives the meaning of an action in a time. Action in a time period is a fi'l. Based on tense, a fi'l in Arabic can be divided into three: either a present tense verb, a past tense verb, or a command tense verb. Present tense verb is called a fi'l mudari'. Past tense is called a fi'l muadi, and a command tense is called a fi'l amr. Now the interesting thing about the verb in Arabic is that a fi'l always has the fa'il, the doer of the action, always inbuilt. So just by looking at the fi'l, that's all that you see, only the fi'l, you can tell who did the action. Because, for instance, in English, there is an action, ate, right? That is a verb, ate. Somebody who did the action of eating, ate. Now, to see, that is just the verb, ate. But if you want to tell someone who did the action, you will have to add a separate word. He ate, she ate, I ate, both of them ate, so on and so forth. In Arabic, verbs, some people find them very confusing and difficult, is because the verb conjugates, the verb morphs, the verb changes based on who did the action, and then in addition other things. So it's like a complex algebraic formula. But the thing with mathematics is, if you understand the formula, then you can plug in so many different things and come up with all these beautiful answers. So it's just a matter of getting the basics right, and inshallah we will walk through it, we will do it together, and you will find it very, very enjoyable, inshallah. So remember, for now I want you to remember that a fi'l always gives you information of the pronoun who did that action. That's always inbuilt in the fi'l. So let's start looking for those doers. The book has only talked to us about the past tense verb. Remember, I said a verb could be in the past, so past tense, present tense, or command tense. The book has only introduced the past tense to us. Then remember, the second thing I said was that a verb always shows the doer, always shows who did the action. In that regard, there are 14 options. There are 14 pronouns. Remember, we did 14 detached and attached pronouns, so there are 14 you can say options to choose from in terms of who did the action. The book has introduced 4 of those 14. He, if he did the action, how will the verb look? She, if she did the action, how will the verb look? You, male, did the action, how will it look? I did the action, how will it look? So let's look at it. In terms of vocabulary, it has introduced only 4 things to us. 4 words to us. So the action of going, to go, if he did the action of going in the past, remember we are only doing past tense, how will I say it? Dhahaba. Dhahaba is saying he went. You want to say she went, the structure will be dhahabat. You want to say you went, dhahabta. If you want to say I went, dhahabtu. So you see that the verb went kept changing based on who did the action of going. He went, dhahaba. She went, dhahabat. You added a ta with the sukoon after dhahaba. You, male, went, dhahabta. I went, dhahabtu. So they're very, very specific. So you have to remember the pattern. Now you change the vocab to a different action, to leave. He left, kharaja. She left, kharajat. You left, kharajta. I left, kharajtu. How about to sit? He sat, jalasa. She sat, jalasat. You sat, jalasta. I sat, jalastu. So now let's look at the rhyme one more time. Dhahaba, kharaja, jalasa. This is all the same for he. The meaning is changing. He went, he left, he sat. She is doing the action. Dhahabat, kharajat, jalasat. She went, she left, she sat. Dhahabta, kharajta, jalasta. You went, you left, you sat. Dhahabtu, kharajtu, jalastu. I went, I sat. Sorry, I left, I sat. So let's look at some these same things again. Dhahaba ila suqi, he went to the market. Dhahabat ila suqi, she went to the market. Dhahabta ila suqi, you went to the market. Dhahabtu ila suqi, I went to the market. Kharaja min al-fasli, he left the classroom, or he went out from the classroom. Kharajat min al-fasli, she went out from the classroom. Kharajta min al-fasli, you left the classroom. Kharajtu min al-fasli, I left the classroom. Jalasa ala al-kursi, he sat on the chair. Jalasat ala al-kursi, she sat on the chair. Jalasta ala al-kursi, you sat on the chair. Jalastu ala al-kursi, I sat on the chair. So inshallah, this is all that I wanted to talk about in this topic about af'al. To cope with the book, I want us to know that there are verbs. Verbs will have tenses. When did the action take place? What time? Past, present, or do I want to command? That's one thing. We are only dealing with past tense in the book right now, so just worry about past tense. Second thing we have to remember, a verb will always give you information about the pronoun who did the action. There are 14 pronouns. Slowly the book is introducing the pattern of each pronoun. The book has introduced 4 patterns for he, she, you, and I. We have to memorize the pattern. We can take any one verb, that's easy, and memorize it. Dhahaba, he. Dhahabat, she. Dhahabta, you. Dhahabtu, I. So that was about the fi'l. Oh, sorry about that. And then the next thing that the book has introduced, which I in grammar don't want to tackle till a later time. But because the book keeps bringing it up, I have to address it, inshallah. Inshallah, we will work with it. So the thing is relative pronouns. Ismul Mawsul. Relative nouns are basically nouns. They're categorized separately because there are a few handful of nouns, I think 6 to 8, that give the meaning in English of who or which. Now the thing about them is that if I say who, it's not clear what I'm talking about, right? If I say a book, you know I'm talking about a book. If I say who, you will be wondering who, like. So it's called an ism mubham, an unclear noun. To clarify this noun, always after a relative noun comes something that makes it clear who this who is or who this which is. This something in Arabic is termed silatul mawsul. So something comes after the ism mawsul that clarifies what the ism mawsul is. This something is termed silatul mawsul. What will it be? It will either be a whole sentence or it will be a shibhu jumla. Shibhu jumla, remember, can be a jar majroor or a dharf. Sentence, remember, can either be jumla ismiya, jumla fi'liya. So now another thing. A relative noun being a noun can play different roles in a sentence. It can be a mubtada, it can be a khabar, it can be ism majroor, it can be mudaf ilay, so on and so forth. When you see a sentence with an ism mawsul, you have to figure out what role is the ism mawsul playing, number 1. Number 2, because it is an unclear noun, it will have a sila you have to figure out the sila. Now the thing with the sila here is that it starts right after the ism mawsul, so that's not hard. But where it ends, you have to figure it out. You are the one who has to figure out where the sila ended and the rest of the sentence continued. If you don't do that properly, your translation may get messed up. So we will walk through this inshallah. Now we will only be talking about the role sifa. So whenever the ism mawsul plays the role sifa, that's the only kind of example we'll be looking at. And inshallah we'll see so many of those examples that we'll get good at it. Inshallah. How do I know that a relative noun is playing the role of sifa in a sentence? Inshallah, it's very easy. What you do is, when you see the ism mawsul, look at the word before it. Does that word have an al? A relative noun that follows a noun with al is playing the role of sifa. A relative noun that follows a noun with al is playing the role of sifa. So let's look at a simple example first. Al-baytul jamilu lil mudiri. Al-baytu is mubtada, first noun, ma'rifa, rough status. Al-jamilu is its sifa, so we keep it with al-baytu. The beautiful house is. Lil mudir is the khabar. What type? Jar wa majroor, shibhu jumla, khabar. The beautiful house is for the principal. The beautiful house belongs to the principal. Now let's look at an example with an ism mawsul. Al-baytu alladhi amam al-masjidi lil mudiri. Al-baytu is mubtada. Alladhi is the sifa because it followed a noun with al. Alladhi is an ism mawsul, meaning it will have a sila. The sila will start right after it. So amama is definitely the start of the sila for alladhi. I have to figure out where the sila ends. Any relationship between amama and al-masjidi? Yes. Al-masjidi is the mudaf ilayh for amama, so I keep it together with amama. Any relationship between al-masjidi and li of harf jar li? No. So the sila ends at al-masjidi. So alladhi has a sila amam al-masjidi. The house which is in front of the masjid. That was the description of the house. Which house? The house which is in front of the masjid. What is the information you want to give me about this house? It belongs to the mudir. Lil mudiri is my khabar. Jar majroor, shibu jumla, khabar. Remember the basics. This is a jumla ismiya because it's starting with an ism. If it is a jumla ismiya, I'm looking basically for two things, mubtada and khabar. The only thing is that mubtada can have compartments that are linked to it, or khabar can have compartments that are linked with it, and you will keep them together. Al-baytu is actually the mubtada. Alladhi is its sifa, so we keep it with al-baytu. Alladhi has a sila amam al-masjidi, so we keep it with alladhi. So al-baytu, alladhi, amama, al-masjidi, all four have to stay in the mubtada train. Lil mudiri is separate, so that goes in a different train, the khabar train. The house which is in front of the masjid belongs to the principal.